So how much do you want to talk to me about the BCS National Championship, Manti Te'o's non-existent girlfriend, her subsequent non-death, the premiere of your favorite TV Brooklyn sitcom Girls, and how this all has to do with Room 237 from Stanley Kubrick's horror opus The Shining?
I want to talk about it non-stop, always and forever. In 2012 we hypothesized earlier through our many talks was indeed a Batman year, and therefore a period of time where anything and everything was possible. Where wildcards would be able to find you at any turn, whether positive or negative, and it would be no surprise because this is often commonplace when a film about the Cape Crusader debuts.
But after it premiered we were actually let down by the movie itself, but that did not stop 2012 from being absolutely insane. And even beyond the Manti Te'o's monogamous Mormon relationship with a Twitter account instead of an actual human flesh girl, which I'm sure he could have cultivated in reality judging from the fact that he is one of the best college linebackers in the country, it had to be the Irish actually getting ranked number one. Even Joseph Smith would be disappointed in Manti and would also believe more in imaginary golden plates that only he can read rather than such success for the footballers who played for the one and only touchdown Jesus.
Oh totally bro. It is so very strange and incredibly bizarre. Every last bit of it. After I perused that Deadspin article all I could think about was how everyone involved in this mess is from Hawaii, half of which were seemingly distant cousins of lots of Tuia Sosipo. Which made me then think of Marcus, the Husky QB from the University of Washington, which then made me think how awesome it would be if I had a throwback Joel McHale jersey from his pseudo-playing days where they tied for a national championship with the Hurricanes of Miami. That was before the BCS machines took over. The system was flawed but the flaws were human, and I think it's more logical to blame ourselves than boxes of metal and wire to decide the outcome of if we are winners or losers.
As completely awesome as the idea of a non-character playing Jeff Winger jersey from the show Community would be, I paused to ponder your point about the Hawaiian factor. Who do we know who have had past associations with this island? Who has time-traveled back and forth through time messing with so many things we have worked so hard for?
Mad Glenn, of course.
Mad Glenn indeed. Do you remember back in the early 1900s when we almost assassinated Teddy Roosevelt while simultaneously rescuing him and convincing him to procure our lot in the University of Hawaii program earlier than its former preconception?
I totally remember that. We saved college football that day.
Quite right, my friend. But what you failed to see was that Mad Glenn traveled back in time to that moment after we had trained him in the future. He corrupted the Hawaiian water supply with experimental drugs that he got from Tesla. Something called bleeding blue. A substance that Glenn had sold on the black market during the Civil War as well, which almost gave the Confederacy victory over the Union. Using Tesla's insecurities for not being recognized for his achievements, I fear that Glenn took total advantage of that, procuring more of the blue but also harnessing a new electrical version of it that could sustain its potency in a state or nation's water supply for at least 150 years.
Are you telling me that Mad Glenn harnessed this into a liquid fusion that would be a gaseous dream trip for the next 4 generations of Hawaiians?
Precisely. And this is what Deadspin missed along with so much more. This situation is Alice in Wonderland timed 1,000 while mixing Philip K. Dick, Orson Welles, Albert Camus, praise Bram Stoker's, and football. And maybe Stanley Kubrick, well actually Stanley Kubrick.
Tell me more about Kubrick.
I know what you're thinking. Pace yourself. Everyone had their reasons.
Tell me everyone's reasons. Isn't that what we all want to know?
I'm not sure how to put this but here it goes. Mad Glenn contaminated the water supply approximately 100 years ago. Then he traveled through time and got a job as a DP on the set of Kubrick's movie called The Shining. Stanley Kubrick had a weird dream in life. Not a sleeping dream, mind you, but a dream of what he wanted to actually be in this life. That dream was to be the QB for the University of Notre Dame.
Are you telling me one of the best directors of film ever in the history of time wanted to be the star QB for a Catholic school while being a non-practicing Jew?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Religion and glory in this world have a fickle fight. But non-practicing religion and love of sport have their time to shine as well. So Glenn, like the mad genie he is, gave Kubrick his wish. The catch was that Stanley would live again, but not know that he was the clutch QB of Notre Dame 40 plus years later with a different name. That name is Tommy Rees.
In turn, the boy who played Danny Torrance actually never stopped playing him. Mad Glenn also told Kubrick to chastise Stephen King's story. He told him to metaphorically tie everything into that room number 237. To act like it was a facade in a very veiled sense, interpreting the Apollo 11 moon landing as being faked by the United States government. In a sense, it was someone faking a fake something, with the goal being that the fiction was in fact based off something that was true, but actually faked.
Notre Dame, water supply, Mad Glenn, Kubrick QB, Danny never getting out of character. Okay, why Manti? Why now?
Now is relative, but it happened and is happening. Hawaii failed to be a national power even with the help of our time travel. And Mad Glenn orchestrated one of the most complicated conspiracies in the history of time. He went nomad to achieve what we could not, but did it with tactics we could never dream of or support. Manti was a part of this long con.
But what about Danny?
Unbeknownst to anyone was the fact that room 237 spiraled for him. I mean, look at the sweater he had to wear. But there was also the fact that he was obsessed with Batman. When Glenn got a hold of him, he fell right in line with the plan.
This plan? Flesh it out for me even more.
It's simple, really. Mad Glenn appeased both Stanley and Danny, but he always liked to say, magic comes at a price. In the year of our Lord 2012 he finalized his plan. He built Notre Dame and Kubrick into legends. Took Stanley to Hades before he could make let Batman flounder after Burton's first one. Took the option form of offense out of college football so the Irish could suffer for 20 years and then let them build back up just enough where he could strike.
He put Kubrick's non-real young self at QB but did not make it easy for him. He wanted Stanley to appreciate what it was like to not be a genius, even though he was unaware that he was. Because of the bleeding blue gas that he had procured from Colonel Walter White aka Tesla, that he had fed the Hawaiian nation for 100 years, they finally turned on each other for not supporting their one and only true university, Hawaii. Oh, the Pac-12, USC, Oregon, and Washington. They ruled the century. The Hawaiians fled, which maddened Mad Glenn even more. But the bleeding blue kicked in, and that's how what we have with Manti Te'o came to be.
Mad Glenn's revenge, in other words.
Indeed. Kubrick got to play QB at Notre Dame in clutch situations. Mad Glenn finally stuck it to Hawaii by making them totally insane yet half Mormon. And then stuck it to all of college football by making the most storied program in its history look incredibly bad, right when they were about to be good again. He burned all bridges, and he was fine with that because of what he read in Heath Ledger's Joker Ghosts Arkham Asylum autobiography entitled Mein Kampf ist ein Sociopath-Anarchist, My Struggle of Being a Sociopath-Anarchist.
But what about Danny?
He is totally alive and well. And what he has discovered is this: the breakdown of the numbers involved in 237 equal the number of miles to the moon in the 100,000s. But the weird thing is that it is the same number that makes up the circumference of the city of Gotham and actually breaks down into the same number of acres that cover Wayne Manor.
Oh my god.
Yes, Mad Glenn had Stanley Kubrick make a real movie pretending to fake something that really happened so that they could distract everyone from his contamination of Hawaiians, building them up, breaking them in amongst themselves, while simultaneously grooming an incarnate Kubrick to take over the Batman franchise after Nolan. After being a QB at Notre Dame. Life is totally connected and totally magically insane, right?
Indeed, my good friend. But you never discussed the Showgirls or the Alabama slaughtering of Notre Dame.
Alabama has professional athletes made of pure titanium. Lena Dunham and her fictional friends are amusing, sad and tough. I like Adam a lot. So does Mad Glenn. And if he likes him, we might have to watch out, because I fear that he might want to get Woody Allen back together with his son by starting a D1 football team at Bard. The Showgirls equals Brooklyn, and Brooklyn equals its hipster inhabitants who all went to small liberal arts schools like Bard, where good athletes are not welcome.
Well, that's where we are all from, though. No one knows that college football started at a school that abhors college football. Football, Woody Allen and alienated sons/brother-in-laws. Who gets to design the helmets? And is there anywhere I can actually get a Jeff Winger throwback jersey?
Troy's non-community character playing non-character playing self from the show Girls can hook you up. Just find his Twitter account, fall in love and tell this fictional person that you're glad 2013 will be a Superman year.